In episode 1, I showed you guys my new Transit 350 box fan and talked a bit about my plans for building it into the ultimate moto camper van. I managed to get the roof rack rails and roof vent fans prepped and installed, which means it's time to start with the interior. I rarely see people talk about how incredibly difficult it can be to simply get started on a build. There's no instruction manual, no guideline to say which thing you should start doing first. Walls, ceiling, floor. Having the 3D drawing done means very little when it comes to actually building things. It's simply an outline for what the final product should look like. With that said, I took a few days to process things and decided to start with the ceiling. Shit. I didn't even draw a ceiling. Where will the lights go? What do I do to utilize the nice natural light from the translucent strip down the center of the fiberglass box? Lucky for you guys, I did all of the stressing and most of the thinking. I'll stop talking now and just let you watch. Okay, I think we all knew being silent wouldn't last long. I'm back. Accuracy was very important for the plan I came up with. My dad had the simple and great idea to use some wooden spacers to ensure all of the furring strips are perfectly spaced and parallel to each other. Although the box van is a lot easier to build due to its lack of goofy curves like a normal van body style, it's far from perfect, and the steel hoops you see here were sometimes inches out of square end to end. Not a huge deal, but it was very important to correct this early on. I used construction adhesive and screws for almost all joints in this build. The adhesive alone is insanely strong. So strong that I'd nearly trust it without screws, but of course, I want this thing to last, so no shortcuts allowed. Just a reminder, be sure to check out the Amazon affiliate links in my description. If you click on those and go buy something, it really helps me and the channel out, as well as helps support the build series here. So there's a lot of cool products that I've used in this build, a lot of really helpful stuff. I've done a lot of research and tried to figure out what's kind of the best materials, glues, etc. to buy, and all that stuff that I've found is linked in the description below. So check it out. I hope it helps. Unforeseen issue here is I'm putting up the boards to mount the tongue and groove to, and what do you know? It's a nice garage door stopper. Turns out we got a pretty bigger issue, and what it is right here. There's just not enough room for the tongue and groove. I was thinking about that, but I measured here and there's like 1.5 inches, but it's bowed, so there's a big gap in the middle and it's tight on the ends. Hey. Well, that's awkward. Crisis averted. I suppose I thought the garage door was latched from the outside and wouldn't have that problem with the garage door rolling up on me, but there we are. It happened. Live and learn. I determined the solution to both of these issues is to simply lower the garage door track by 2 inches. Now the garage door should open. Hey.
Ew.
I'm liking the color once it's up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it'll look fine. Wonderful. So a very cool sponsor I got on board for this build is Havelock Wool here. This is what I will be using for insulation. All natural wool, very environmentally friendly, and we're finding it's actually really easy to work with. So they come in these bats. They're 16 inches wide, pretty cool here. Get a little fabric cutter, courtesy idea of Liz here, which will save us hours of work. hold down here, apply some nice pressure, and very easy. So a lot easier than cutting like pink foam board, which I used in my previous fan build, where it chunks apart, it's got that outer plastic layer, and it's just super hard to cut through. So yeah, really excited to be working with the wool here. And thanks to Havelock for helping me out with it, because it's gonna be sweet. Kind of did that to me the other day.
Your arm was all out of focus when I was...
Well, probably, because you're really close to me. So it might be focusing. This is why Dad operates the tools and I film when we're working together. Oh, ninja skills. I know what you're thinking. I was just talking smack on the pink foam board and how much better the wool insulation is, but I have my reasons. So for starters, I did not get enough wool from Havelock. I decided to go with 4 inches of subfloor thickness, and I was only accounting for like a very thin layer. But in addition to that, given the amount of weight that's going to be in the cargo area and just wherever, with the motorcycles and whatever else I put in there, I thought that having the pink foam board in this instance would just provide better support, you know, so you're not getting all that flexing and stuff when you're putting weight on the ground. Does it really matter? Probably not, but I needed to get this stuff done. I didn't have enough wool, and thankfully I was able to just run to Home Depot and grab the pink foam board to keep the project rolling. So it'll work out great in the long run. Ideally, the wool would have been sweet. I just didn't have enough. Doing the subfloor took a lot of time simply because I had to cut all these foam pieces to exact dimensions. Yep, I even used shims to space out the floorboards. Details, my friends. One of the scariest parts of doing all this initial work was making sure I planned ahead. You have to think ahead. All of the supports in the subfloor and furring strips on the walls need to be installed in very specific locations so you have solid mounting for tie downs, cabinets, water tanks, batteries, and a lot more. I stressed a lot about this. The last thing I want is for something to not be secure. I probably went overboard, but at least I'll know everything I screw into place will have a nice solid bite and should never come loose, rattle, or break. My standard for building cabinets and such is that if you can't do a pull-up on it, it's not made well enough. Overkill? Maybe. I'm not going to take any chances, as this will be my home and reliability is super important. For the floors, I used 1/2-inch plywood, so wherever I need to fixture something down, I know I'd have reliable bite with screws. I wanted to do the same for the walls, but settled on 1/4-inch Baltic birch plywood, which is about 30% lighter. Weight is definitely something to consider here when you plan to load up 3 motorcycles, tools, gear, food, water, and everything else. Thankfully, the 1/4-inch birch also has fantastic screw holding capability, so I'm glad I went with it. It's also much less prone to warping, giving the high ply layer count. My bank account is the only thing upset about using it. What's wild is that you'd think this would be such a simple task. Just slap some plywood up on the walls. Far the from it. I'm a bit of a perfectionist, so I needed to plan where boards would go so that the minimum amount of seams would show. This was also a determining factor of where certain furring strips went so that each board edge would fall on the center line of the strip. I probably spent 2 whole days just going over different layout ideas and making sure I didn't miss anything. It all worked out in the end. Makes everything. She's a pinch.
Make sure top goes over too.
Keep going. A little more. Right there. A little. So using the plywood here to get things square to the wall. Okay. I think it looks fine there.
The mark up top.
That's a little squiggly.
I'd say she's pretty darn straight.
That's the shape. That's the shape.
Out of 10, what do you think the chances are that it all fits closely?
4.
Okay. Oh. Oh no.
Oh jeez.
Okay. Oh jeez. My fingers. Oh my fingers. You bet I sanded every inch of those walls. Had to get it smooth for primer and screw hole filling. I guess I didn't record it, but after filling the holes, I resanded all of the walls before applying 2 coats of paint, which I also did not film, regrettably. The end results were so worth it. Perfectly smooth and soft to the touch, nearly no imperfections. Man, it felt good to be at this stage. All of the prep work done, ready to start building some components. Seriously, be sure to subscribe. Episode 3 will be coming out hopefully in less than like 2 months, which was the gap between episode 1 and 2. I'm going to try my best. I'm kind of on a roll right now, but lots of cool things coming on the build. Some unique little details and features, creative ideas. Subscribe. Make sure you watch episode 3. I've also got to give a huge thank you to my dad, who's helped so much in this van build. Also my friends Liz, Devin, and Perry, who helped out with this episode.